Our perfect love story was a lie until a devastating diagnosis changed everything. Their love story wasn't written in sonnets but in shared sunrises from the back of a beat-up Ford Bronco and whispered secrets under a blanket of stars in Joshua Tree. Liam was a whirlwind of creative energy, a photographer whose lens captured the wild, untamed beauty of the world. Chloe was his anchor, a brilliant botany student who saw the world not just in its beauty but in its intricate scientific design. They were young, American, and gloriously, recklessly in love. Their future felt as vast and open as the Montana sky. Just months ago, they had stood on a precarious ledge overlooking Zion Canyon, Liam's camera clicking as the morning sun set the cliffs ablaze. He had grabbed her, spinning her around with a laugh that echoed in the vast emptiness. "We're invincible, Chloe," he'd shouted, and in that moment she believed him. Then the whispers began. It started subtly. The unquenchable, excessive thirst that Liam dismissed as dehydration. The shocking weight loss on his already lean frame, which he joked was his new trail diet. But Chloe, with her scientific mind, saw patterns. The most frightening was the profound, bone-deep fatigue that started stealing the light from his eyes. The man who could chase a sunrise for miles was now exhausted by noon, the fire in him reduced to a flicker. The breaking point came on a crisp autumn day in the Appalachians. Liam, framing a shot of a cascading waterfall, collapsed. The world tilted, blurred, and went dark. The harsh, sterile white of the hospital room was a universe away from their colorful life. The doctor's words were clinical, cold, and shattered their world into a million pieces. "It's type 1 diabetes," he explained, his voice devoid of emotion. "An autoimmune response. His body is attacking its own insulin-producing cells. From now on, his life depends on monitoring his blood glucose and administering insulin." The diagnosis was a brutal thief. It stole their spontaneity. Their life, once a sprawling map of possibilities, shrank to the size of a glucometer and a schedule of injections. Liam, the free spirit, was suddenly imprisoned in a body that had betrayed him. The constant finger pricks were a painful reminder of his brokenness. He lived in terror of the dreaded low, the sudden, disorienting plunge in blood sugar that could steal his consciousness. He became withdrawn, his laughter replaced by a quiet, simmering anger. The camera gathered dust in the corner. If you like to subscribe, like, and share, please do it now. It is up to you to keep me motivated or leave like many who don't want to value the efforts involved. One night, Chloe found him staring at his reflection, his face pale and drawn. "I'm not a person anymore, Chloe," he whispered, the despair in his voice a physical blow. "I'm a patient. A series of numbers. A list of complications waiting to happen. How can you love a ghost?" The strain created a chasm between them. He pushed her away, unable to bear the look of pity in her eyes. "Stop looking at me like I'm a science project," he snapped once when she tried to calculate the carbs in his dinner. The words, born of his own pain, struck her like a slap. She fled to the bathroom, silently crying, the weight of being his caregiver, his cheerleader, and his lover becoming an unbearable burden. Chloe's heart broke every day. She watched the man she loved fade, not from the disease but from the hopelessness it bred. But Chloe was a fighter. If the world had a cure, a secret, a whisper of hope, she would find it. Night after night, fueled by coffee and desperation, she dove into a rabbit hole of medical journals and forums. She learned the cold, hard facts about HbA1c levels and the grim statistics on a reduced health span. One night, surrounded by a fortress of books, she felt a tear slide down her cheek and splash onto a page. She was failing. But then, through the blur, she saw a link in a forgotten corner of a forum. It led to an article talking about Ayurvedic solutions. It wasn't a magic pill. It wasn't about abandoning the life-saving insulin regimen. It was about something more profound, a holistic approach to wellness, a way to support the body, and a path toward reversing diabetes naturally, not as a cure but as a reclaiming of life. She approached Liam cautiously a few days later, her laptop screen glowing with a fragile hope. She spoke of herbs with strange names like gurmer, fabled to be a sugar destroyer, and recipes with bitter gourd that could help with insulin sensitivity. She talked about a new kind of diet, one that wasn't about deprivation, but about nourishing his body with whole, vibrant foods. He was skeptical at first, his eyes clouded with defeat. "More rules? More things I can't do? Just leave it alone, Chloe." "No," Chloe said, her voice fierce with a love that refused to break. She knelt in front of him and took his hands. "A new adventure. Not my project. Not your burden. Something we do together." His resistance crumbled under the force of her conviction. And so their new journey began. Their first attempt at cooking an Ayurvedic meal was a disaster. The bitter gourd was too bitter, the kitchen was a mess, but as they stood there, covered in flour and failure, a sound Chloe hadn't heard in months filled the room, Liam's deep, genuine laugh. It was the first crack of light in a long darkness. Their kitchen transformed into a sanctuary of healing. Their mornings, once a frantic rush, began with the quiet, shared harmony of yoga on the living room floor. They practiced meditation not to escape their reality, but to find peace within it. It wasn't just about managing his blood sugar, it was about soothing the stress that made everything worse. Slowly, miraculously, the light started to return to Liam's eyes. His blood sugar levels stabilized in a way that amazed his doctors. At a follow-up appointment, his endocrinologist stared at the charts. "Whatever you two are doing," she said, a rare smile on her face, "keep doing it." The real change was deeper. One afternoon, Chloe found Liam in the living room, his camera in hand. He wasn't aiming it at some grand vista outside, but at the simple beauty of their new life, the steam rising from a cup of gurmer tea, the vibrant green of a kale leaf, the way the sunlight caught the dust motes dancing in the air. He had found a new kind of beauty, resilience. Their love story was no longer about reckless adventures. It had deepened, forged in the fires of adversity. It was in the taste of the healthy meals they crafted, in the shared silence of their morning meditations, in the steady rhythm of their breaths during a yoga pose. One evening, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and purple, Liam turned to Chloe. His eyes clear and full of a love so profound it hurt. "You saved me," he whispered, pulling her close. "The insulin keeps me alive." "I know that. You gave me my life back. You fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself." Love couldn't cure his pancreas. But in their shared battle, they discovered the most powerful natural remedy of all, a love that refused to surrender, a love that turned whispers of despair into a warrior's song of hope. If you like to subscribe, like, and share, please do it now. It is up to you to keep me motivated or leave like many who don't want to value the efforts involved. Thank you. We'll meet here again soon.